Welcome to Cigalo, where mysteries and wonders await. It's difficult to believe that Caravan SandWitch, developed by the small French studio Plaintoast, is a debut title. Published by Dear Villagers, this exploration-based game promises adventure, a captivating narrative, and a mystery to solve. The team consists of less than 20 people and tackles an interesting challenge with this project. How can you balance a relaxing experience focused on exploring a beautiful environment with the tension that comes with a post-apocalyptic setting and a narrative driven by a missing persons case?
Crazy pixel.
Potential players are likely to immediately be charmed by the lovely aesthetics or relaxed exploration the game promises. However, it would be a disservice to Caravan SandWitch to not mention one of its less apparent selling points: a thoughtful, community-focused narrative. Our protagonist Sage starts off in a sterile space station. We find out that their sister Garance has gone missing over 6 years ago. However, her spaceship has now started emitting a distress signal. And so, Sage decides to return to their home planet of Cigalo, which they had left after Garance's disappearance, determined to find out what happened to their sister. The story is not life-changing or even particularly deep, but it is relatable and easy to connect with. Upon their arrival in the settlement, the player is immediately greeted by a lovely cast of characters with a range of quirky plant-themed names as is custom in Cigalo, such as Nefle, Clémentine, and Saffron. I was very impressed by how clearly defined and fleshed out the characters are. Could sense their relationships to each other, the history with our protagonist, and their individual personalities. Throughout my time with Caravan SandWitch, I also played a number of side quests, helping out the residents, finding out more about their struggles. From the parents of a young child trying to decide between staying with the community or moving to the city, where there are more opportunities, Sage and their father struggling to come to terms with Garance's sudden disappearance, or a small group of robots I ran into later, grappling with what grief means to them. A lot of their struggles felt relatable and every side quest worth playing. The plot progresses at a nice pace controlled by the player. I particularly enjoyed the heads up the game would give me before moving on to a new chapter, letting me know if I'd finished all time-limited side quests yet, so I didn't accidentally lock myself out of an experience. Not only does Caravan SandWitch explore individual struggles, it also poses the question of what it means to belong, how to compromise in order to protect your home, and what you're willing to sacrifice for those you love. You explore a post-apocalyptic sci-fi world. The words post-apocalyptic and sci-fi conjure a vision of a dark, desolate world with rampant violence, a battle for survival, and a gloomy atmosphere. Caravan SandWitch is the exact opposite. Based on the Provence, a region in the southeast of France, Cigalo is bright and colorful, and it blends abandoned spaceships and factories with nomadic settlements, sandy beaches, and a seemingly endless desert and rich, lush forests. I loved my time on Cigalo. As I slowly uncovered the map, I became more and more familiar with the small planet and its different locations, and I loved taking the time to just sit and enjoy the scenery. The game encourages this, with different points of interest marked out on the map for the player to find. There are radios playing music, pillows to rest on, mementos to find, and components to improve your van. Speaking of the van, I loved driving it. It felt like an efficient and fun way to get around. The skills you unlock, such as scanner or grapple hook, are focused on the van rather than the player. It felt like it was a really clever way to make sure that the van was a part of your adventure. It never made sense to go anywhere without it, and it was integral to the experience. Despite the storm looming threateningly in the distance, it felt relaxing to explore Cigalo. There are no time limits, no ways to die, no stamina bar, or combat, so I really took my time to make sure I had seen it all. Only a real resource are the components to drive forward the plot, and they're so abundant that you will have more than enough even without exploring everything. In fact, by the end I had so many, I was wishing for something to do with them. At the same time, Caravan SandWitch never got boring. There was always another side quest that seemed interesting, a new location to explore, or a sudden titular sandwich sighting to keep me interested in the mysteries of Cigalo. The discovery was made easy as I drove around the vast planet, accompanied by the lovely atmospheric soundtrack. I noticed just how natural exploring Cigalo felt. Points of interest are cleverly signposted, with trails of dirt over climbable surfaces, paint streaks in abandoned factories, conveniently placed boxes, and guiding light sources. And so I never really got stuck for long, and I was able to explore every corner of this world. It felt fluid and fun. The scanner function you unlock early also makes it easy to figure out which locations you have not yet explored and have components for you to find. Certain locations are a bit more challenging to access than others, requiring balancing across beams or climbing a high tower. Each of those challenges were rewarded with rare components. Exploration felt worthwhile. Usually I'm a big fan of fast travel, and you do unlock a few fast travel points in the course of the game. However, I find myself not using them particularly often, finding it nicer to immerse myself into the world and drive my trusty van. It's a fantastic debut title, considering all the depth and clever design that has gone into the game. I was initially really surprised to find out that this title was made by a small team, but in retrospect, It makes sense. You can clearly feel the love every member put into this project and the inspiration taken from their home region. It's actually only after finishing Caravan SandWitch that I looked up what inspired Cigalo, only to find out it was a region I visited on numerous occasions as a child, spending summers with my grandma and making fond memories. And suddenly, I understood why I immediately felt a connection with this fictional world. That being said, I did run into a few minor issues, namely a few clunky instances with the climbing and jumping, struggling to angle zip lines in a way that did not have me collide with the corners of a building, sending me tumbling down. Thankfully, there's no fall damage, and so it was not a big issue, only mildly annoying. There are also a few quests that lock you into your van, requiring you to drive to a specific location, sometimes with a passenger. You're not able to leave the van or stray too far from your path during these sequences. I was a bit frustrated when I was forced to drive past something cool, especially as the number of markers you can place on the map are limited and not very representative of what you're marking. Finally, I also feel like the title of the game isn't quite fitting for the experience it offers, and I worry that I might lead to some potential players giving it a miss. Caravan SandWitch is available on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Epic Games and Steam, and is sure to delight anyone looking for an approachable, relaxed exploration game with a lovely narrative. Cigalo felt like coming home, and I'm sure other players will feel the same sense of nostalgia that accompanied me throughout this experience. While there are a few minor issues that I expect will get ironed out, I'm really impressed by how quickly I became attached to this world and its inhabitants, and I truly hope many of you will feel the same. Noisy Pixel is giving Caravan SandWitch an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching! This would not be possible without our Patreon subscribers. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Please check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future content.
Noisy Pixel.